A newly appointed governing body for the National Council of Social Service says its key priority is reviewing the sector roadmap for the next decade. From today, NCSS also takes on an expanded role as sector developer to strengthen services and build capabilities. NCSS says the council will guide the organization as it responds to increasingly complex social needs while working with the sector to build a more effective, future-ready and sustainable social services landscape. The new leader of the National Council of Social Service has set out to build a more collaborative model for the sector. Chairperson Gregory Vijayendran says this will ensure agencies remain sustainable and resilient amid challenges like funding and AI. He shares his vision with CNA's Chloe Teo.
What does it take to build a more resilient society in the face of uncertainty? For Mr. Gregory Vijayendran, it's no longer a theoretical question. As the new chair of the National Council of Social Service, he takes on the role at a time where Singapore's social safety net is increasingly stretched.
For example, we might have caregiver fatigue. We might have mental health issues. We might have social isolation. And so when you kind of have this as part of the whole complex set of issues and challenging set of issues that is facing a family, we need to find a way to reduce the pain points that they may have to get help and to get help fast. And then conversely, when we look at it from the lens of the social service agencies, how can we collaborate so that we help meet the most pressing need?
He says AI is another challenge reshaping the sector.
How do we work intelligently with artificial intelligence? How do we harness the best of AI to reduce some of the admin aspects and focus on what we're good at? And how can we not lose the distinctive edge that we bring to the equation, which is, I would call, the compassion factor and the empathy.
Against this backdrop, he says the challenge then lies in striking a balance between strengthening services without creating over-dependence.
The question is, how do we, sort of wean ourselves away from external help, which could be dangerously a crutch, and become more self-reliant, more resilient? That will entail a journey. It will entail, careful assessment, careful evaluation, and just journeying together, with the individuals and the families involved.
But Mr. Vijayendran says success isn't simply about reducing people's reliance on social services. Instead, he wants the sector to focus on improving quality of life, measuring whether people are able to live with greater dignity. The senior counsel says this also means recognizing that for some vulnerable groups, support may require a longer runway.
For instance, protection of children. The government will have to move in and will have to try and protect children. Protection will be number one. And, then from there, we have to see how we evolve from there in terms of the journey of how they cope with the trauma, how they cope with, the pain of their own experience. And to that extent, maybe you might not be completely out of the social service use, but you might actually be reduced. But you may need it for a long time.
But providing that support also means ensuring the organizations have the resources to do so. Against a tougher fundraising landscape, Mr. Vijayendran believes that charities will need to rethink not only how they work, but how they work together.
But I think we need to look at this aspect in a more creative way. And what that will entail is that we need to think about, different ways of funding, different types of funding models, and if that means partnerships that involve others in the ecosystem, so that rather than mission creep, I play to strengths. I'm core. This is my core program. I'm going to ensure that I get funding, and this is the niche, and this is what delivers results.
That's also his vision for the sector's future, one built less on individual organizations and more on collective effort.
So the hope is that tangibly we will see more tie-ups, more partnerships, and that we can measure this aspect. But at the same time, I would also want to see more evidence-based research and an even greater maturation where we see translational research, where Singapore becomes, as our minister has also encouraged, also able to share some thought leadership with our neighbors.